Now, we all know that Greg Kelly is the most miserable person on the internet. That's true, and it will continue to be true, and it's spectacularly true. And it got truer last year when they gave his primetime spot to Greta Van Susteren because she's fucking lightning. It's one thing if they'd have managed to like Tucker decided to dump Fox and go all in on the and just decided Newsmax is my new nest, and god damn it, he's bringing this huge audience over, and you get punted for that guy, you're gonna like, well, that makes sense. But when Greta Van Susteren can broom you out of your seat, and they're like, move over, slowpoke, a new excitement sheriff is in town, that's enough to make you grind your teeth down to the gums in your sleep for the next 10 years. So, just about the time, and I'm pretty sure this is yes, just about the time you think they couldn't possibly shit on Greg Kelly more at Newsmax, they make him the one to interview George Santos. That's right. Talk about shit rolling downhill. Rep. George Santos reacts to the controversy that's tied to his name. Is it tied to his name? I'm sorry. Why everything in his career is legit, and what he said to Mitt Romney. Santos also reacts to President Joe Biden's lies over his career on the Greg Kelly reports. All right, Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly's going to bring it to us, folks. And it's going to be magic. There you go. Yes, CSL. Holy shit. Like, they're torturing him at this point. I think, quite frankly, they're trying to get him to quit. I think Newsmax is like, they got a contract where they can't fire him within a certain window, or they have to pay him some money that he absolutely isn't earning. So they're trying to just make him go, fuck this. I'm on the first bus out of here. Ba-da-ba. Okay. All right. Fuck off.
George Santos, Congressman.
This is gonna be good.
From New York, he's a Republican and probably the most famous member of the House of Representatives right now.
Infamous, dipshit. There's a difference. Excellent picture, though. I'm surprised you didn't pull it in to get the whole frame. You couldn't get a shot of him with his Jewish relatives?
They're obsessed with him. Brand new.
They are? Who's they, motherfucker?
Congressman, but he does bring a lot of controversy to the table, doesn't he?
No, he didn't bring it to the table, asshole. It dragged behind him. Like the sack of misery or whatever in the Pentaveret.
Well, he spoke with us this afternoon. I had a conversation with him at about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and
nobody gives a fuck when it was, although I don't believe you. It was probably 10 minutes ago or maybe 6 hours ago. Nobody knows.
Take a look. We are joined tonight by brand new Congressman George Santos, Republican.
That's amazing.
Of New York, Long
Yes, Captain, like it's a misery off on Greg Kelly tonight.
Island specific.
The only person more aggravated than Greg Kelly on the fucking planet Earth.
Specifically, look at this, a decisive victory over a...
Oh yeah, killed it. Just one hands down because the voters knew who they were voting for and swung for the fences, didn't they? Yeah.
Very well-funded opponent, and that blew...
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's interesting. I guess the truth gets its ass kicked by lies no matter how much money the truth has. Oops.
District went to red.
Yeah, and it's been smooth sailing ever
That was
since.
One hell of a victory. Now, ever since he's gotten to Congress...
Yes, emphasis on the hell.
However, well, certain questions have been raised. We're familiar. We'll get to those in a moment, but...
We're familiar?
Look at the media attention around this freshman congressman. It's pretty wild, and he joins us once again. Congressman Santos, welcome to Newsmax. How are you?
I'm gray, Sean. I'm all the color has flushed from my face. I'm actually a Snapchat filter. Everybody in Congress, I'm Debbie Wasserman Schultz using a Santos Snapchat filter. We all like to have some fun around the office.
Greg, thank you for having me.
It's nice to be had. I'm glad to talk to one of the greatest news stars out there, Greg.
You bet. And actually, I'm first off curious.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. And how are you able to get anything done with all those people shadowing you? Are you able to get anything done given the pressure and the attention that you're facing right now?
Yes, it's the attention. That's it. It just gets in the way. It's being a celebrity.
Greg, a lot of people have opinions and a lot of people want to say a lot of things.
That's bold words from the freshman congressman. I know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about? I don't know what he's talking about.
Here's the reality. I'm human.
Yes, and you can trust me.
I've made mistakes. I've made peace with those mistakes, and I've come clean on those mistakes.
First of all, no, yes. I love QuickTime Harge.
I thought we were the nation and the country of, repent and ask for forgiveness and move forward.
No, repent and ask for forgiveness. Okay, first of all, you can ask for forgiveness, and people can say, "I got news for you." They can say no. They can respond to your, "Please forgive me." No, because I don't believe you. I don't think you are legitimately. If you had any shame whatsoever, you would pack your shit and fuck off. You lied to get in here. You can truth your way out, motherfucker.
The problem is the media fanfare around me continues to spiral. Meanwhile, I'm in my office.
I got news for you. They keep discovering new lies.
I'm taking meetings, I'm answering constituent calls, and I'm signing
to step down
on to a litany of bills on the House, and we're writing bills out of my office already that are sitting with ledge counsel. So as every
Yes, they're the Liars Act of 2020 21, because I already wrote it and it was already signed into law.
Everybody must be wondering at home if I'm getting things done. You betcha we're getting things done.
Yeah. First of all, we'll just take your word for it, I guess. Secondly, maybe they won't like what you're getting done because you lied about. Oh, God.
And we're pretty proud of the work we're putting forward. I was hired by the 142,000 people who elected me to deliver.
No, they actually voted for someone else, someone that you aren't.
On a conservative agenda, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And you can expect to see nothing but conservative policy coming out of my office while the media spot.
Well, yeah, because you'll be, cribbing it from other people. I wrote this. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. I wrote that. He's the Cinda Canning of Congress. I wrote that. If you tell anyone different, you'll be mopping the floors at NPR till the end of time. Do you understand me?
Spirals out of control.
How about your colleagues? To get things done, you need cooperation from colleagues, certain colleagues, Republicans.
Yeah, no, some of them just, I don't know why. The Jewy ones seem to have a chip on their shoulder about you.
Have said they really want nothing to do with you. Famously, we had that situation with you and Mitt Romney. But how are they treating you?
And by the way, what's Mar-a-Lago really like? I understand that you live in the tower there. And you have a pet dragon?
So, look, I know a lot of people think that the sentiment of the 6 freshman members of Congress from New York is the sentiment of the entire delegation of the entire Congress, and that's just not true.
No, just the majority of Republicans and all Democrats.
The reality is I won by a decisive margin.
No, you didn't. The character you were playing won by a decisive margin. You didn't win shit because George Santos, as he stands before us right now, did not run for office. That was a character. You lied about who you were. Your constituents voted based on those lies. And it wasn't even like, I'm going to pass this bill, and then he doesn't. Like that kind of normal, like, oh, I tried. I said I could do it, but I wasn't. I thought so, but I was wrong. That's not the same thing.
I had a very expressive, decisive victory. Some of my colleagues didn't afford the same type of margins, and they're doing the political game. I don't blame them.
By the way, because they had to run on fucking reality.
This isn't personal. Politics isn't personal. People do what they got to do. I don't hold ill will against them. I don't hold any of this personal. I understand the nature of the.
Dude, you couldn't. Nobody knows who you are personally. I'm dead serious. This is one of these motherfuckers. You could actually insult this dipshit and not even be sure who you're insulting. This could be a character. This whole thing could be a troll. By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Super chat. There you go.
The beast. I'm not a political animal myself, so
Then why'd you run for office? I'm sick of this shit too. Republicans, fuck yourself. If you're a politician and you ran for federal office, you can't go, I got to get out of D.C. Motherfucker, you ran for a job that's centered in D.C. It's where the government of the United States exists. It's fucking supposed to. It's important that it does. You don't get to fucking sit in a throne in your home state and go, yeah, I'm your congressional representative. Get the fuck to work. Your job is half in D.C., period, end of story. Stop bitching about it. Do your fucking job. If you're like this place, especially anybody who's run and won multiple times, like the swamp, if you talk about the swamp and you've been in office for 10 years, get the fuck out of here.
just focus on getting the job done and doing what I have to do.
Which would be what?
They want to go ahead and join with Democrats and attack their fellow Republicans.
They don't know you're a fellow Republican, asshole. Seriously. For all they know, they discovered a mole early.
So be it. That's their prerogative. The voters are going to see for themselves what they think is more productive. If it's getting an agenda passed or if it's attacking your fellow Republican. If it's unseating Ilhan Omar from a committee where she has no place to be on, or
Unseating? Is that what he meant?
as if it's attacking a fellow Republican. I think this is kind of what we're experiencing. We're seeing for the first time, we're getting a lot of transparency and coverage in Congress, with the obsession that has become covering anything and everything I do.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, no. Everybody who's following him around is dealing with the fact that, and a huge chunk of the people following him are not even the national news folks. I mean, there's definitely pool reporters who are, anytime they see him are going to like, oh, fuck, Santos. Hey, dipshit, what'd you say? Because it's going to be, it's instant clickbait. But the vast majority of the people who are following him on the regular are local New York reporters. New York City, Long Island, New York State, anybody who covers that entire fucking beat, he's the news. He's eating the entire political window of news that they have. Like there nothing else, no light can break through because of the shade this motherfucker has created.
All right. Now listen, you say you apologize and
yeah, and I believe you. Sight unseen.
You're sorry and
look up. What the fuck are you looking at? Greg, you look more sorry than he does.
You want to get to work. But I want to ask you about Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
I want to ask you about Joe Biden. Think he's a real Jew or?
Biden famously lied throughout his career, specifically.
And dropped out of a race when he was caught. He dropped out. And by the way, if he hadn't done that, or if he had been clearer that he was paraphrasing from somebody else's stuff and not stealing it outright, he would have been fucking president a long time ago. He was, effectively, he would have beat Dukakis in the national primary if that shit hadn't happened. That was a unforced error on his part. No fucking question. He would have given Reagan a run for his money in a way George Bush Sr. in a way that Dukakis never could.
Early on about his educational credentials. And if Joe Biden were here, well, I'd want to know, and anybody who was around back then.
Yeah, he apologized for all those things.
He could have been stopped back then.
He was stopped back then.
And my concern about you, Congressman, respectfully, is that if you will.
Look, Bo died in Iraq. Bo died because of what happened to him in Iraq, because of burn pits. That's what he meant. That's what he said. And every time he's clarified, that's what he means. Fuck you. Corn Pop wasn't a lie. Are you saying that dude doesn't exist? He's a fucking national hero.
Lie about the small things.
Of course.
Maybe you'll lie about the
Amtrak travels.
big things. And Joe Biden, we know he's lied about everything. How can you?
Number of meetings with Xi, number of trips to China. Is he saying that he's had more than he said? Oh, and by the way, this was from a conversation where he was saying he was talking to somebody who a drunk driver killed. Insofar as I remember, their family had been killed by a drunk driver, and he was saying to them, "I understand because my family was killed in a car accident. Not that the guy was drunk." It's so stupid.
Allay, say, my concerns. I mean, if you're going to embellish about this,
Being a Jew.
that, and the other thing, what about
Yeah, this, that, and the other thing.
the real stuff when it gets real important?
Yeah, lying about your being Jewish or dual citizen with Brazil, or even your name, or where $700,000 that went in your campaign came from. That's this, that, and the other.
Well, Greg, let's put it this way. I want to be judged based on my actions. If you look at my report,
You are. You are. The main one being that you lied repeatedly in egregious and grotesque terms and continue to do so to get into office, and on a personal level, in a way that, by the way, bigoted.
I right now stand as one of the most conservative members of Congress, keeping to my word that I will vote conservatively for the people of New York's 3rd Congressional District, right? Joe Biden, on the other hand, spent a life in a litany that spans 47 years. That's just to give you some perspective. That's 13 years longer than I've been alive. I'm 34 years old. And he spent a litany of his entire...
Wait, he's 34? I'm 53. Again, you could one more year, you could almost invert our ages.
Entire political life making false promises on campaigns and then reneging them once he gets elected. So that's very different.
Are we still in Afghanistan? Is it still Infrastructure Week? Did the Violence Against Women Act get re-upped? How about gun control? Yeah.
Different than what?
How about the omnibus and all the shit in that? How about that? How about the Inflation Reduction Act? Did you see what's in there? How about the American Rescue Package? Eat shit.
Look, I come from a tough background. I come from a tough upbringing.
Yeah, he was in the Warriors. I don't know if you remember. He had much curlier hair then. He got whacked in the I think it was in the subway. Man, I hate waiting for trains.
I might have made some stupid decisions and I regret them. And I say this to everybody.
Yes, one of them was running for office pretending to be someone else.
Watching at home. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't learn your lesson, because it won't turn out well. If you lie like I did, as grotesquely and brutally, it won't work out for you. If you're running to be a Democrat, because you'll have to quit during the primary season and do a mea culpa and go out and go back to work and try to hide and shame for a little while and then prove yourself through work over years and years. If you're running as a Republican and you're a fucking shoo-in, I mean, honestly, doors wide open.
Be better than that. And I'm doing that. I'm working hard to regain the trust of the voters who sent me here, so they understand that nothing about my campaign, my propositions of what I would do as a member of Congress were a lie. And if you look at my voter card and my score,
I'm doing exactly what Kevin McCarthy told me to do, except for explain where the $700,000 came from. There is one thing, that whole thing where money came out of nowhere. I'm
keeping up to that word. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has done an entire career of gaslighting the American people.
So, Congressman.
Yes, I know. I don't know if you know this. We're still in Afghanistan. Yep. And we're not supporting Ukraine. And there are no infrastructure projects. And Intel is not building 3 plants in the United States. And 9 chip factories aren't either brand new or are under construction in Arizona. Also, lead pipes. We're adding lead pipes. Yeah, Joe Biden has said, fuck fluoride. We're pouring actual lead into the water.
And there are a lot of people who share your values as terms of, you know,
truth telling, like you, like Trump.
the conservative agenda.
Which is what? Tricking Jews into giving you money by using a Jewish name because you think that's how it works?
But you got there, apparently. Well, actually, I want to ask you, why
apparently
did you deceive people? Why did you lie about...
Greg, I have to pee. Do you really? No, I don't. I'm fidgeting.
About college, lie about your experience at Goldman Sachs. What was motivating you? I'm really curious.
Also, the Jew thing.
Did you feel insecure? Were you trying to fool people? Did you think somebody who wasn't a college graduate might not be able to get into Congress?
Yeah, that's what it was. I was so ashamed of not being a college graduate that I made up a huge degree. It was just, I'm so smart, and yet everyone thought of me as ignorant. So I dressed the part and thought I could fit in.
There are a lot of deceptions here, you'll admit, and you have said you're sorry, but what was motivating you?
Yeah, and also, why so much lip filler? I mean, isn't that an ongoing lie? Do you even have lips? Or are those rented?
So I want to set the record clear about my work experience. I never lied.
By the way, clarify the record or set the record straight. Where do these people learn their colloquialisms? Nobody knows how to turn a phrase anymore.
I never worked for Goldman Sachs or Citigroup directly, but I did work through direct contracts for those firms in the management of limited partners and general partners relationships through a series of cap introduction opportunities.
Congressman, I respect
many other firms.
If you don't mind, Congressman, I have to jump in. You understand, though, the net effect was deceptive. And I do want to get in. Yes, people exaggerate on their resumes and embellish.
Yeah. You think Greg Kelly told the truth getting into this joint? He had his dad make a phone call.
But there are some items here that seem to go beyond that. And I'm just wondering, and we'll talk about Mitt Romney and what happened there. And I do think that
I'd love to dunk on Mitt Romney for being rude to you because you're an unrepentant liar.
Has his hand in everything, but...
What? Who? Back the fuck up. He has a who with the what? But wait.
Romney and what happened there, and I do think that God has his hand in everything, but...
Okay, first of all, God doesn't need hands. If there is a God, it is in and of all things. It is, if you want to anthropomorphize it so that you can get a grasp on how you would communicate it, I got no problem with that. But and analogies being what they are, you can't pick and choose. Yes, you could argue God has his hand in this to show Republicans just how bad the direction is lying pieces of shit, that they're headed in. They can, just how bad the path before them is. This guy is a prime example. Don't do this. It will come back to bite you in the ass. Stop. That would be one of the ways, Greg.
What was motivating you? What were you, was it
God? I'm trying to help you out here. Did the devil make you do it, or did God put you on earth to being a lying piece of shit? Maybe you don't have a choice.
Insecurity. Brian...
It's destiny.
Williams famously got caught in a bunch of lies, and he said, look, I was trying to be something I wasn't because I felt insecure. What was going on inside you?
Look, Greg, here's the deal. I would have never gotten the nomination from the Nassau County GOP if I had not concluded college. That was really the...
Concluded college. Concluded. Oh, I didn't realize.
Main driver, because of the way of the nature of their politics over there. It's just plain and simple.
No, it isn't. Hold on. Republicans are anti-college right now. If you're a success and you didn't go to college, especially in the financial arena, which is where he pretended to make all of his fucking money, they'd absolutely go, oh my God, look at this self-starter. He's a Republican with good conservative values, and he didn't have to go to your fucking liberal, censoring, gender affirming college where they're forcing Marxism down our throats, right?
Right. So I made that bad decision. I stand by my work experience. I walk the walk. I talk the talk. I know what I'm doing. I have that through a career of success, and coming from a basement apartment to being a member of Congress and every
Directly, by the way, while pretending he had a great place. And yeah, never mind. Whatever. Back rent being back rent.
everything in between. Life wasn't kind. The journey wasn't easy. You know,
Yes, he came up on the rough and tumble streets. It was, but one of the things, Greg, I think you know this, that when you're a jet all the way.
I've taken some sacrifices and some hits in the face, but I stand here.
You've taken some sacrifices and some hits. Yes, you've taken other people's sacrifices or other people who were sacrificed and claimed their sacrifice as your own.
Here to say confidently that to say that I deceived and it was a campaign of deceit and deception is just not fair. That's just the political spin that the Nassau County GOP wants to create on this narrative. And as
no, it is materially true on dozens of things, motherfucker. And again, this whole I was never a drag queen, and then boink, there's pictures of it. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, but I wasn't a drag queen. Well, it's like saying you never did porn because you weren't a porn star. Not every person who does porn is a star. I'm just saying there's hierarchies in everything.
As you know, New York politics, it's pretty simple. The party bosses run the narrative and everyone follows suit.
Apparently not, because if they ran the narrative, they would have made you lie. If they were in charge of narrative and that was all that mattered, then they would have gone, hey, George, we like you. We think you're going to vote the right way. So here's your lies, buddy. Tell these 7 lies and we'll back you all the way.
And this is what's going on at the moment.
Did you survive a brain tumor?
Am I surviving a brain tumor? Are you giving me a brain tumor listening to you?
I had my own personal medical issues in the past, and I don't feel I need to go into details, but yes, I did have an acute tumor.
This is what concerns me.
It wasn't just cute. It was fucking adorable. This is what bothers me. God, this is the part where Greg didn't want to go. But he gets to switch gears into thinking, hey, man, I'm here to support you. But since you're gay, and if I can broom you out of the GOP, no harm, no foul, thanks for making it easy.
I mean, you'll have to admit, you're a critic of Joe Biden, so am I, but it's very Biden-esque to take a kernel of truth and make it into a possibly more appealing story for voters. That's a concern. If you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about how you funded your campaign for Congress. There is a bit of a question mark about how you made your money, where the money came.
Yeah, hold on. We're just going to breeze past the fucking brain tumor? I had an acute series of, I was traumatized by what I call a tumor, but my doctor referred to as an Excedrin headache. And my doctor, of course, was a famous TV doctor. He was in the Excedrin commercials. He's also the 5th dentist who doesn't like Trident. So
came from, I'm looking at loans that were made to the campaign by you, but it's unclear if it's actually your funds or someone else's. $700,000.
Look, if I can get my dirty little paws on it, it's mine. Possession is 9/10 of the law, Greg. Okay? Where I got it is none of your fucking business. It's mine right now. When I went like this, from here to here, it was mine. So, yeah, mine. It was mine at some point. It's mine now till they find out where it came from and make me give it back. Jillian, thank you for the super chat. Mandy, thank you for the super chat as well. Love you guys.
120,000. Go ahead, please. Where did the money come from?
I can attest that the total of the money was all legitimate money obtained through my legal practices with my company, and I distributed my dividends to myself and loaned it to the campaign. I was all in on this. This wasn't, I had my heart and soul on this. This isn't about power. This is about getting stuff done. Having somebody like me come and represent other people who are just like me.
No one is just like you, dummy. I mean, the nerve of this motherfucker. Just like me. He's just like me. You're just like me. Who are you? I don't know. Who you want me to be? People who are just like me, like the talented Mr. Ripley or Zelig.
Simple-minded folks who come from absolutely nothing and have a voice, who are just like me. Simple-minded folks who come from absolutely nothing and have a
Yes, blank slates. People with absolutely no personality and no background. People simple-minded. Simple-minded. This motherfucker just called himself simple-minded.
who are just like me. Simple-minded folks who come from absolutely nothing and have a voice in Congress. That's why when Mitt Romney told me I didn't belong here,
Jesus Christ. Maybe he was referring to the fact that you're a simpleton. Simple-minded people from Simpleton, USA. You know, towns where even the intersections run parallel, so nobody runs into each other. It's a simple life where the clock only has one hand and the bells never chime. Where the church, the bank, the school, and the graveyard are all the same plot of land. No doors, no windows. Just stand there because everything else would be too complicated here in Simpleton, USA.
this isn't the first, or will it be the last time that somebody's told me I didn't belong, and I fought to stay and to be represented and be heard.
Yeah, asshole. No. You pretended you belonged to other groups that say they didn't, that were told they don't belong. Literally. Jewish people for centuries told millions of them were murdered by people who thought they didn't belong, and you claimed to be one. You used the oppression points of someone else. You stole victimhood from other people, and then you borrowed tokenism from a pile of bigots who needed you to check a fucking box. So they got, we got one, we got a gay one, we hit all 3 boxes in one dude. We don't need anybody else. Our diversity quota in one walk-around human being.
And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. No matter how many people come after me, I will always stand strong.
Even if those people are other versions of myself.
As far as the finances, as you can imagine and appreciate, it is an ongoing inquiry, and we're more than willing and always willing to supply anything that is asked of us. And I stand strong, and I have no doubt in my mind all my funds were attained through legitimate reasons and channels, and I have no fear to say that I will suffer any ethics issue with that.
Wow. Just like crowbarring, like, how much am I saying? None of this is under oath, right? I don't have to plead the fifth with this fuckhead. How do we wedge some more bullshit into there? That's gonna be, it's gonna take work.
I would love it if you could be a bit more specific, though.
Yeah, he can't, stupid, because the second he is, your next question is gonna be, is that true? And then the answer after that you're going to find out, not from him, but from the actual facts, is no.
So you're kind of talking a little bit vaguely.
A little.
You know, for these loans, there's collateral. There are things that, in the past, you've said, okay, it didn't come from Russia, it didn't come from China. You say legitimately, that's a lot of money. It didn't appear that you had jobs that would provide that kind of income where you can make these kinds of loans. So I would love it if you could be a bit more specific, because these are real sizable figures.
Of course, Greg, Devolder Organizations was founded in 2001 when I stepped away from my previous employment, and I decided to go on my own to do exactly what I've did for others.
On my own, I wasn't really fired. I decided to go on my own.
Companies for years, which is capital introduction, relationship management of high net worth individuals.
Relationship management of high network individuals. I gotta say, this has a real Epstein stink to it. Wasn't that Epstein's fucking business model? Are you rich? I can introduce you to some other rich people who are also into the same shady shit you're into for a small fee.
So I did that, and I started making money on my own. I had a couple of years of experience under my belt in the financial world of New York City, and I was able.
The financial world of New York City. I I was brash. I was did you ever see Secret of My Success? That was me. I was originally from Kansas, and I didn't even, I fell in love with, with the girl who would, eventually I would find out was Supergirl. And while I was fucking my aunt, through marriage, she introduced me to the heaviest hitters in New York real estate and business, and I wowed them with my plans.
Our relationships throughout that process. And what I did was I was really cashing in all my chips on my name and trying to start a company. And
what name would that be? DeVolder?
It successfully started. I garnered contracts and I just went forward with it. And as I started yielding the fruit of my work, I started distributing my own dividends to myself and donating.
This is going very well. This is good. This reminds me of the Paul Manafort discussion about where Trump's money came from.
Loaning it to the campaign.
Where the fuck? No. What are you bailing out there?
All right, what do we think so far?
I think he's full of shit and you're full of shit and this whole business is nuts.
Coming up next, we ask him about Pedro. Stay with us.
Wait a minute. From Napoleon Dynamite? Why the red star, Greg Kelly? Why this? I mean, isn't it a little Soviet? I'm just saying.
Okay, we're back with Congressman George Santos.
Who is now frozen.
I talked to him a little while ago, and everybody else is talking about him. Here's the rest of our conversation.
Here's me talking to him, you fucking cowards. Of course, those people, walking through the aisles and shit, they were talking. Never mind.
You're in politics. People go through your stuff, and
I don't know what conversation happened between what we just heard and where we are now.
There's a guy out there named Pedro who claims that he's an ex-boyfriend, possibly a fiance of yours.
And that makes me uncomfortable because gay.
He's calling you a psychopathic liar. His words, not mine. And I do understand that the fake news, they can be fake. I don't even know if this guy met you before.
Do you have any pictures of you fucking him or him fucking you or you both fucking anybody? I would just for my own, I'd just like to see him just, so that I can be, because you see things, but then, I mean, they could be deep fakes. I don't send me a Mid-Journey link of you fucking the guy from Napoleon Dynamite because I don't need that. Nobody needs that.
But what do you say to Pedro? And do you offer him?
And don't say it in Spanish because I don't speak anything but American.
Him or anyone else an apology. And I'm talking about the people that are telling the media that you hurt them, that you
refused to give them a reach around, that you were you were an unsympathetic lover, that that you often would just storm out of the room with no kiss and no towel.
You really wronged them personally. Have you made amends with them? And who is Pedro?
Yeah, who is Pedro? And does he have a last name? And if he is, what bars does he hang out? And what's the bus line that would go by there? I just, for my own, I've got some shit to work out. It's a really weird line of questioning.
So, Greg, I'll be very clear on one point. There is no active investigation with the Ethics Committee that we haven't been notified of.
Okay, so there is one.
The committee hasn't, from my understanding, convened yet in order to do that. And if that were to happen, we would be more than willing to comply. As far as who Pedro is and all these other people, I leave one question to you, Greg.
Do you know Pedro? Have you met him? Honestly, between the two of us?
I am this horrible person that deceived and hurt all these people throughout all...
Deceived. Deceived is not... Never mind.
All these years.
You got...
And did all these acts of crime. Why did not one single one of them, who have all come out of the woodworks from different walks of life, not gone to the police, filed a police report and sued me or taken me to jail if I were this criminal? Instead, I invite everybody to look into these...
Because you're a drag, man. Until you got into office, nobody gave a rat fuck. You were just that, you were literally, you were a road bump criminal. You're just that shitty dude who I think that motherfucker took some of my records. It's not worth a police report, but fuck that guy. That's just dozens and dozens and dozens of reports of people saying that about you. You're not like he's so gross that even people he's ripped off are like, I don't want to press charges. It means I'd have to see him again. It would be like being ripped off all over again.
People and look at their backgrounds and what I did for them. I've helped them coming from homeless situations. I've helped them coming into my house and ruining my life, literally, disturbing my entire life with my family and ruining my marriage. So Pedro is a person I hope.
Ruining your marriage? You mean with the lady? The Brazilian lady you married so she could get a green card? Which, by the way, might help us track where some of this fucking money came from.
With very little respect because of his track record and because of what he's done. And also, I challenge everybody to do a little bit of research on all these people who like to come out and...
Yeah, but not a lot. Do a little bit of research. Don't do too much because you'll get through the part where you're like, oh, these people are... This is the kind of people George Santos would hang out with, and you go, oh, well, shit, they're telling you the truth.
Attack me and look into them and look into their behavior and to all the things they have done, right? It's really easy to pile on me. I'm the new favorite punching bag in America. Sure, you can come for me. I understand. I can handle the heat, but I doubt and I hope and pray that these folks have the same tenacity and the same strength in them when...
How he was 13 when he founded his company in 2001? Yeah, that's a little weird.
The media starts looking into them and starts asking them the hard questions because the reality is I doubt that Mr. Pedro would be able to withstand 1 hour of serious questioning about his behavior, his ethics, and what he did to my family and I.
Well, I don't know what he did to your family, but I'm sure Greg would be very uncomfortable to have a conversation about what you guys did to each other. That I would watch. Maybe Greg could set up a debate between the two of you. And Pedro doesn't even have to show his face if he doesn't want to. He can have the big drop voice, that kind of thing. And they can like black out his face. And you can tell the whole story. It'd be fantastic. I'm just saying, must-see TV.
Wrapping up, the other couple of weeks ago when you were all considering who the next speaker would be, and Speaker McCarthy has been rather supportive of you, and you've been supportive of him, but you were sitting there by yourself for a while, and quite frankly, I was saddened and I was kind of moved by these pictures.
Uh-huh. You were. I know. It's just... Why won't anyone understand? But the reason you were moved by them, Greg, is because this is what Greg Kelly looks like inside his own head.
I think we've all been there at one point or another, kind of on our own, whether it was in high school or some scenario.
Yeah, but it ain't high school, motherfucker. This is the Congress. You're a goddamn adult. He's not alone because people don't like his breath or he wore the wrong tie or he's not cool or there's a clique or some bullshit. He's a fucking liar. He's a grotesque bigot.
Where, it just felt like we were the only person in the world. You worked.
Meanwhile, this kid's living the life. What's up, brother? I got my friends here, like a couple guys. And then, by the way, this is Santos, and these are the pages he's been assigned who are like, yeah, no. We'll be over here.
Pretty hard to be a member of Congress, and then you get there, and they're treating you, well, nobody seemed to want to be friends with you.
Because they don't know who you are.
What was that like? And again, my heart kind of went out for you.
Why don't you tell us what it's like, Greg? You've been on a bus in the last 6 weeks.
That moment, we all have done whatever, but
we all have done whatever. Have we, though, Greg?
What was that like? Was that painful?
So, Greg, just to be very clear, that entire segment of pictures and imagery were taken within a span of 30 minutes that I sat in that position.
A spam of 30 minutes.
Pictures and imagery were taken within a span of 30 minutes. Within
a spam of 30 minutes.
An entire segment of pictures and imagery were taken within a span of 30 minutes.
The word is span. And by the way, quite frankly, spam is a better descriptor of him, except spam has substance. And quite frankly, if it hadn't been for spam, the Brits would have starved during the war. But that I sat in that position. I am walking into the United States House of... $5 says that's a shirt dickie under the sweater. Yeah, you think it's just like a snap-on collar block?
Representatives in the chambers for the first time with a voting card and a pin. And I was just taking it all in, trying to understand. I was looking around. I was trying to get my footing, understand how things work. I didn't even know about the cloakroom behind me, or else I would have probably been sitting in there just trying to understand and grasp everything. But
grasp everything in everybody's pockets, going through everyone's jacket in the cloakroom. Is that what you were thinking about? If you had known about it, that's where you'd have been. You would think people would leave you alone with their cloaks?
if you notice, that was really exploited because I sat there. I got there very early. There was very little people in the chambers yet, and
there were a lot of little people in the chamber, a lot of kids around you. It was like you were sitting at the kids' table.
I sat there for about 30 minutes looking around, trying to understand, texting back with my family, just like, oh my God, this is surreal kind of situation in here. And that's what that moment was. It wasn't a moment.
I'm glad. I'm relieved.
And thrown to the wolves.
I mean, you look like I look on the bus.
I'm relieved, Congressman, really, because for a moment there. All right, last thing. Mitt Romney, yesterday. Mitt Romney was mobbed because he had a conversation with you. I think we have footage. There were about 15 reporters following him around because he talked to you.
No. Mitt Romney talked at George Santos. I swear to God, after that, like in front of all the other folks, I'm surprised that Romney wasn't like rolling his balls around in a wheelbarrow the rest of the night.
Maybe you heard. I was annoyed with Mitt Romney. I think he could have offered you some generosity, maybe some advice.
No. Yeah, he offered him some advice. Get the fuck out of here. You're stinking up the joint and taking attention away from the work we're trying to do. You fucking loser. You're an embarrassment. Like, that was the advice. Like, he's not wrong.
Advice. There are a million places to meet on Capitol Hill. He claimed.
Yeah, he's going to sit alone with fucking George Santos. George Santos has earned a right to sit in the same room with Mitt Romney, who's been reelected multiple times as the senior senator from Utah.
Claimed not to hear what you said. You said something back to him. He claimed not to hear it. Number one, is he telling the truth? And number two, what did you say?
Yeah, because I didn't hear it.
Well, I'll put it this way. It's not meant for television what I said back to him. But I can tell you one thing. He did hear me.
Nothing you say is meant for television, dummy.
And Kyrsten Sinema, as she was walking by, the senator from Arizona, she said something to the effects of "hang in there, buddy," or something like that. I said, thank you, Madam Senator. She was very polite, very kind-hearted, as I've learned to see her. She's a good person, unlike Mr. Romney, who thinks he's above it all.
Okay, first of all, Sinema, although she, is no longer a Democrat, ain't a Republican. Romney is territorial about the function of his own fucking party, which he sees spiraling in the fucking toilet. However, Kyrsten Sinema has two reasons to back you. One, because she views you as gay primarily before anything else and is like, all right, just don't, you don't have to stay here, but you don't have to go home and cry, and you'll be all right. And the other half is that you help both her and the Democrats, who she will majority caucus with, even though she's a pain in the ass going forward. She's using that independent thing to guarantee herself from being primaried next time around. And so the Democrats, a lot of them, while they're like, this dude should get the fuck out of there and the Republicans need to clean house, the truth is most Democrats are like, I give a shit. If they want to set the example that this dude's okay, then shit, there's a bunch of people over the years we can invite back into our party that haven't gone anywhere near this shit that we broomed out a long time ago.
Is in a whole almighty white horse trying to talk to us down on morality. The reality is he's always has prejudice towards minority. He had it in his 2012 election, and that is why he didn't become.
Yeah, that's why, because you're brown or because you're gay. That's the thing. That was the last straw for Mitt Romney. Granted, it's odd that he passed a lot of brown and gay people on his way in the chamber, has negotiated with and talked to Democratic senators for years that are in those categories, talked to them as they were human beings. But for some reason, that's what it was about you, not the bullshit, not the fact that you were an embarrassment on his party. It's the minority
become
status.
president when he absolutely had the opportunity to become president. And that's why I was very clear when I said on Twitter, you will never be president because you would never represent all Americans.
I didn't hear that about the prejudice, but boy, oh boy, was he a loser. Beaten by Candy Crowley, of all people, in a debate. Well, it's kind of fascinating what happened to you. Please come back sometime, Congressman
Whoever you
George
are.
Santos, Republican of Long Island, New York.
Thank you, Craig.
You bet. You bet. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Good Lord.